Guys, Wednesday here, January 29th. I promise you this isn't the same shirt I had on my last video. It's a different color actually. How is everyone today? We are feeling the effects of this new moon in Aquarius. And it's a big one. And it's actually a good vibe moon because there's a lot, it's making a lot of other aspects to stuff that's going on now in Aquarius. We've got a Jupiter trine, Jupiter planet of expansion, good luck, feel good vibes, blah, 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 and a few other things. So, enjoy this time and stuff that comes out now. Its effect will feel it for like 6 months, okay? And here's the thing, now is the time when you can break free of something or someone that you've wanted to. Aquarius is freedom. Um, it is shock, it is awe, but mostly in a good way. And so you can break free from certain thoughts you've been having, certain conditions you've been in, situations. It seems like inspiration will just come to you out of the blue. That's the Uranus shock effect. So, hopefully, many of you will use this kind of energy to do what you need to do in a good way that helps you and that can free you from something that you've wanted to be free of. All right. And before I forget, a lot of people, on my very last video, I told you the astrological aspects of Donald Trump. I didn't go into specifics on those, okay? But one of those aspects, because you guys asked, well, what are the aspects? There's about 5 prominent ones, and like I said in the last video, I'm not going to go into each of those because that would take up an entire video. But one of those is Saturn, okay? The 8th house, Saturn, okay, making an aspect to his ascendant. Okay. And remember, people, this is not in his natal chart for you astrologers out there or the ones that understand. This is his progressed chart. Look at his progressed chart. Okay. Before you tell me that I'm wrong, look at the progressed chart, not his natal chart. Look at what planets are in his houses and aspecting his planets for this period, okay? And you will say, okay, I see what you mean. All right? But Saturn, 8th house, aspecting his ascendant, and I believe his midheaven too. That's just one, like I said. But anyway, so, boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Number one, I'm going to start off with is China actually confirmed and proved 2 of my predictions correct. The information that I was given videos back, you remember when I told you guys about China? They're going to do something good, right? And I said, even though they're not a friend, they're going to do something very, very good. Okay. Well, another prediction I made was the stock market, uh, Bitcoin, crypto, third week crashing, the stock market and Bitcoin crypto crashing 3rd week of January, right? Okay. Remember those 2. This week, was it on Monday, right? China released an open source, which means free for everyone, AI module, okay? DeepSeek. That is something that not only tanked the stock market, okay, people lost over 1 trillion, the tech bros, over 1 trillion in the stock market. Okay. That is also uh, something that Trump had just pledged last week. He gave Sam Altman, that crew, 500 million or more for AI, and said that we were the leaders in it and this and that. Well, days later, China's like, nope, you're not the leader. We did it for 5 million, not hundreds of million. We did it quicker and we did it better. And it tanked the stock market, especially those investing in AI. Okay. So, the wonderful good thing about that is that Silicon Valley, the tech bros, are panicking. And you can only imagine the money that they lost um, with that. $1 trillion is kind of like a lot of money, even in today's economy. And so it's quite a humbling experience. Do you see how love peeks through and does its thing in ways that we can't even imagine? Love managed to do something because that's just part of like it. You know, if you're looking at the overall picture, right? That's just part of how love works. Okay. And now, so our government, the tech guys, your big, you know, uh, billionaire class, they're basically in panic mode. Okay. And what it does too, also, is it takes the whole capitalism thing. Okay. Because these guys were, they had chat GPI, right? And so these guys were planning on or had already started charging like 200 a month to use it, or were going to charge something like that, but just to make money off of it. That's what I'm trying to say. And China released it as open source, free. So, and it's better. So why would you pay for something that you can get for free that's much better, right? So you can only imagine the ripple effect that that's going to have. Okay, it's just going to ripple. And I've told you guys quite a few times how during this Mars retrograde period, and thank you for everyone that corrected me on the date. I said it was going to go direct. Mars is going to go direct the first week in February. I think I said that was wrong. You guys chimed in and told me it's like the third week of February. Appreciate that very much. Always, if I'm dead wrong, correct me. Um, but do your research first before you correct me, because a lot of you got it wrong on Trump's chart, his progress chart, and you came at me and you were wrong. But um, so yeah, thanks for that. But Mars being retrograde now, okay, like I told you, a lot of stuff isn't going to stick. So already we see that, uh, and it's funny, some of the January 6 rioters now, one was unalived, uh, three more were picked up for felony charges almost immediately after they were released. I told you guys last video about that lovely lady that refused her pardon. There's a guy also now that refused his. Um, Trump is being sued by all the Democratic AGs across the country, attorney generals across the country. He's also being taken to court by the Quakers over the immigration policy. Love that. And there's so many more court cases. I can't even. I can't even keep track of all the stuff that's kind of going on. By the way, remember he came out with the decision to exclude the Tuskegee Airmen from the training videos in the Air Force. Well, that was the Air Force rescinded that, and now they're still going ahead with showing that. So it's like stuff like that. Let's see. And just a bit of good news. A Democrat flipped an Iowa Senate seat. That's kind of big. Um, that just happened yesterday, Tuesday. Um, that's a good sign in a sense that that was held by a Republican. And remember, Trump won Iowa, although he didn't win one of those caucuses, but he won Iowa. And so those people already are like, oh, heck no. And the margin that this guy won, the person won, I don't know if it was a guy or a girl, a woman, but was like 20 plus points. So that's a positive sign. So, what I want to say to everyone is I know there are some negative Nellies and Neds that tend to look at things only as doom and gloom. And every time I get on here, I don't try to be positive. I don't try to be negative. I always try to give you the reality of what's going on. And that is from an objective view, right? And so as you're looking at all this basic negativity coming out every day, they're hitting you with it. I want you to remember that love train that I spoke about a couple of videos back, and you guys love that concept. So I want you to imagine being on that love train, the divine love train, okay? And what that means is that you are basically in the neutral zone of divine love. Okay. You're not allowing yourself to get carried away either way, the good or the bad. You're just in that neutral zone, trusting that love is still always doing her thing. You're comforted in that. You're resting in that. Your mind is locked in that. So now you're on that divine love train, right? And you're going through traveling, okay? And the train is moving steady on. And it's basically you're looking at, you come across a section and there's a beautiful forest, and I'm like, oh my God, it's gorgeous. And maybe on the next section, you see, like an ugly, you know, whatever, something doesn't look great out there, and you're like, ugh. But you're keeping on that train, okay? You're just kind of an observer, just looking, okay, yeah, that's nice. That's not too great. This is all right. Oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. But you're on that train, okay? And the train is steadily moving on. And you are sitting in your neutral seat, and you're sitting with divine love that is neutral, perfect, and harmonious. And you're just observing everything that you're seeing. But you're not getting off that train, interacting with that. Okay? You're just observing and you're keeping steady on. That is how a lot of you, if you can hold that in your mind, can get through not only these tough times, because believe me, these will pass. These will pass. I see a time that we're not going to believe, and I will live long enough to see it. But I see a time when we're not going to believe how different and much better society is. And all that we're going through now will understand, and we'll put those pieces together. Okay? But not only do you want to use it for what's going on outwardly in the world, but use that also for yourself, for what goes on individually in your life. Lock on to your seat on the train of divine love, the neutrality, the beauty, the harmony, the perfection of divine love. If you lock on to that, it will keep you. You will travel through whatever you need to travel through, okay? But not only will you know how to deal with it, or you will receive um, intuition on how to deal with things better, or ideas, or things will pop in for you to help you, or you won't have to go through things so deeply or tragically, okay? But it will help you immeasurably. Because remember, that is the goal. The bottom line of why we're here is to use some of that spiritual understanding to the best of our ability, each one of us, the best way we can. Your way is not going to be my way, and my way is not going to be your way. But I guarantee you, if you try it your way, the best way you know how, you will be helped. You will be helped tremendously. And that's a guarantee. You'll be helped from the other side. The other side, whether you call it love, your guides, your companions, the universe, I don't care what you call it, God, whatever. Whatever you call it, whatever you know it as. If you try, if you put forth the effort, what it does, it opens up sort of like a space. And that love comes rushing through to help. But if you don't try, let me tell you something. Our guides, our companions, are the absolute most loving entities that you can imagine. They're selfless, they're loving, but they're not going to do the work for you at all. They will help you and they will guide you, but you've got to put forth the effort. Only in your action. Okay? So, I feel like I sort of got off on a tangent, but it's okay. I like that tangent. And that tangent was sort of inspired. And I wasn't actually planning on saying all that, but it was kind of just flowing through. So I just let it keep going. But if you need to hear that again, play it again. But I've told you in both of my books, both of them, in different ways, many different times, there is no cruelty ever with the universe. The universe is never cruel. You're never unlucky. You're not cursed. It's none of that. None of that. Okay? We are here for karmic obligations that we owe, either good or seemingly bad, but also to impart as much of our spiritual knowledge that we can, however limited it is. Okay? So, that being said, I do have a prediction that I'd like to put out there. Another one. Norway has come to me so strongly, just like China came to me weeks ago. Norway has come to me very strongly. And two things I get with it: super strength, strong, unimaginable strength. They're going to do something unbelievably strong, something rock solid and surprising. I'm not given any more information on that, but just watch Norway. Watch Norway and remember Norway. Okay. Second thing, many of you keep asking me about JD Vance because, of course, if something does happen to Trump, JD Vance, is next in line, right? So here's the thing: I cannot see that I'm not getting anything on JD Vance other than a scrunched up face and sort of like danger for him, sort of like he's scared or something. And that's all I'm being given about him right now. So if I get more, I'll give more, but please stop asking me. If I get it, I will give it. Don't ask me any more about JD Vance because that's all I'm getting on him. He's super scared. His face is scrunched up, and he's just like almost like paralyzed. He can't act, something like that. So, but that's it. That's all. There's nothing being given to me clearly about him, and I can't force it, and I'm not going to fake it. So that's that. Um, and let's see something else. Oh, to all of my football fans out there, you guys are hilarious. Um, and wanting me to make a prediction. I have been shown who's going to win. Uh, but here's the thing: I am also emotionally invested. So I'm just not going to say. I am not going to say. Um, but I will say this: it may be a surprise. It may be a surprise. And that could go either way because remember, the Eagles did win too, the Super Bowl in recent history. Okay, so nothing is guaranteed. So if you think me saying it could be a surprise means that they're automatically going to win, no, I'm not saying that. But it doesn't mean that the Chiefs are going to win. So I'm sorry for that. But that's been fun reading you guys' comments. Okay, I have got the most awesome question that this person asked this question and I really want to answer it because it covers so much. It says, I have a question. Thought is energy. Attitude is energy. So with all the downright hatred, derision, and ill will directed to the orange maggot, how is he still alive? I am sure he is not spiritual and would have no concept of spiritual protection. How does he still live and breathe? The whole world detests him. What is happening energetically? Love this question. Because there's actually an answer in the question that they don't even realize, okay? So here's the thing. I have told you guys in my books and on these videos, the soul is indestructible. Okay? And so is the spiritual form of ourself. So remember, The true Trinity, right, is really your soul, your spirit, and whatever form your spirit is manifesting as. Your soul is always here, always here. And it's indestructible. It cannot be diminished in any way. It can't be lessened. It can't be taken over. And the same goes for your spiritual form. However, okay, in this form, yes, we can be subject to all types of things in this form. However, if you are grounded, connected to your spirit with integrity, and that's a whole nother video, but you basically have a protection, okay? Now, he is not grounded in integrity, right? But also, there's another reason why he's is seemingly untouchable for now, is because it is just not, for some reason his his path has basically been to be untouchable for now. I did a video a while back, probably last fall, and if you go through either my videos or my live feed, it's there, about spiritual integrity and Donald Trump, and he is a big test of our integrity. So basically, if you support him, you're lacking. Okay, and if you don't, your integrity's pretty much, good to go. And so, although it seems sad to say this, he's actually here for a purpose. Okay, a very big test of integrity. By him being the worst self he could possibly be, he is a mass test of integrity for almost the whole world. So he's serving a purpose. So his spiritual form protects him, his guides protect him. That doesn't just work for him, that works for all of us. That's what happens. And that's why I try to tell you guys. If it's not your time, it's just not your time. If something's supposed to happen, it will happen. If it's not, it's just not. Okay? So it doesn't have anything to do with basically, we already know he doesn't have the spiritual integrity. However, he is being protected because he has a purpose. And that protection is not forever for him. We'll just say that. It's just not forever with him. Um, but so yeah, I really love that question because there's so much in that question. The next question is a very good one also. And it says, I really want to thank you for breaking down what's going on around us. As an African American gay man, I'm filled with such anxiety about what 47 is doing as far as DEI, and now he wants to expose the FBI documents on MLK because he has such racist followers. I'm concerned about just walking down the street. But after watching this video, speaking of the last video I did, I do feel less stressful and hopeful. To be honest, I haven't been hopeful since November 6th. I didn't feel hope that things would change in my lifetime. I'm only 55 years old, and I know that people come before me who fought and marched to where we are now. Okay, and there's a little bit more, but that's basically the gist of it. So first of all, thank you for being so open and honest. I am so sure that I am not gay, but as a gay person, I am sensitive to society's feelings and how gay people are treated, the LGBTQ community is treated. If you have read especially my first book, you know I have no tolerance for homophobia in any form at all. And that is mainly because it's silly to me, because you know your spiritual form, when you pass your spiritual form, it will not be male or female. You may don a form that you're comfortable with, and if you were comfortable with being a male or female, you will appear that way to some others, but in pure consciousness mode, there's no gender. Okay, there's no gender, and I talked about this in my last video also. So, in that sense, in a truly spiritual sense, all this hugabaloo about, trans people and gay people, and they don't want them in their bathrooms and this and that and this and that, that stuff is not going to last, simply because the reality of true spiritual form is genderless. On this earth, we appear, some of us, as male and female, but since society now is more open about those type of things, we're seeing that people are born a certain way that is neither indicative of one gender or another. Okay, so even though it seems right now that there is this mass uh, far right movement to like ban the whole LGBTQ movement, it's just not gonna be successful, and it just can't be. Okay, um, and on a more individual level, to this person that wrote that question, let me just say that, number one, be proud and strong in who you are and how you feel you must represent yourself in this particular lifetime. Okay? If your inner instinct is vibrating as a female, or whomever it is vibrating at, be strong in that, because you came to experience this life as that particular entity in that particular gender. Okay? So be strong in that and know that there is spirituality in that. There is spirituality in anyone expressing themselves in the truest way that they feel inwardly. Okay? So, and there's power in that. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Absolute zilch. Nothing to be ashamed of, and nothing to try to hide. Okay? And I will remind you too, okay? And it sounds a little cliche, but if nothing is supposed to happen to you, you will not experience the effects of whatever this clown is putting out. And that goes for all of us on all different levels. Okay? If your spirit deems that it's not a necessary thing that you need to experience, you're just not going to experience. It's just like the plane crashes, like I've told you guys before, where, you know, two or three people make it, right? It wasn't their time to die. It just wasn't their time to go. Period. So they didn't need to experience that. They lived. Okay? And that goes for anything that this nutball puts out. Okay? Keep yourself on that train of harmony and love. Okay? Don't don't jump into a reactionary mood. Okay? Um and remember, like I said, you came here to experience life in a certain way. I came in this life to experience it as a female and a straight female. Okay? But that's just how I came to experience. Now, I talk about in my first book about how I had no gender in one of my lifetimes. I had an existence on another planet. Okay, gender wasn't a thing, neither was race. So, um be you, your authentic true self. And hopefully that will help release any type of negative feelings that society has tried to push on you. Okay. Um, let's see. I believe. Okay, this question. Okay, evil does not exist at the soul level. Now, how about at the spirit level? And where does witchcraft come from and why is it real? I just talked about that. Um, evil does not exist at the soul level or in the spiritual world, period. Zilch. That witchcraft, voodoo, that stuff can only affect the human energy that has not connected to its spiritual self. And when I say connected to its spiritual self, when you have spiritual integrity, that doesn't mean you've gone to church every Sunday for 30 years. That doesn't mean that you've meditated every Thursday for 50 years. None of that. True integrity means that you desire love, goodness, divine love more than anything on this level. You desire divine love more than money, more than possessions, more than power. That is true spiritual integrity. Once you have that, your connection is made. Your direct connect to the spiritual realm is made, and you cannot be subject to the witchcraft, the voodoo, the spells, or whatever that crap. Okay? You just can't. It's like a wall builds around you. And I also talk about that, I believe, in my second book. But so, no, it doesn't exist at the soul level or the spiritual level. There's nobody in the spiritual realm putting spells on anyone. Because we all have the same amount of power. All right. So anyway, I thank you guys for all your support, your beautiful, wonderful compliments, your funny compliments. Um, take care, and until we meet again.